Let's talk bold predictions for the GenCon RLE coming up this weekend. I'll start off with my top 16. I've got an All Might 3, Endeavor 2, 2 Eraser Heads on the Void symbol, Bakugo on the Death symbol, a Jiro, 2 Mirios, Momo, Mimic, Nejire, 3 Overhauls, an Amajiki, and a Shigaraki 3. I'll just point out a few quick things before I jump into my specific bold predictions. One is I think Overhaul will be the most represented character in Top Cuts with 3. At the webcam RLE, we saw 2 Overhauls on Earth. This time I think we'll see 2 Overhauls on Life with 1 on Earth. I think we'll also see 2 other Life characters top, being Nejire and Momo. You know, you kind of have this trifecta of Life characters that are impossible to kill with Momo, Nejire, and Recovery Girl. Of the 3, I think that Momo and Nejire are probably the strongest right now. And then I've only got 2 Mirio Togatas on good. I think that's partly due to just everybody being ready for this character and a little less representation than the webcam RLE. I'll go into why I think Mirio is going to be seeing less representation this time around a little bit later. And then Bakugo, I feel like, is always right there on the cusp of making Top Cuts, and sometimes he just makes it in. I think, you know, we saw on the webcam RLE, we saw Kirishima 3 make it on the Death symbol, and Eraserhead make it on the Death symbol. I think Bakugo also really benefits from Kirishima 3's kit, and he's just very strong on face, and he's quite strong going into Eraserhead, and we know there's going to be a lot of Eraserheads this weekend. And then 2 Eraserheads on the Void symbol, I think that might be the best deck in the game right now, so it's not going to surprise me if there's 2 that repeat as making it into Top Cuts. Jumping into more specifics, I think Overhaul will be the most represented character. Not just in Top Cuts, but I think he'll actually be the most represented character as a whole, and I don't think it will be Mirio. You know, for the webcam RLE, it wasn't particularly close. There was like 29 Mirio players, and then the second most represented character, I think, was like 13 characters being played on. But I think Mirio will see less representation at GenCon for 2 fundamental reasons. One is that everybody is going to be prepared for Mirio. And so, you know, it feels uncomfortable playing the deck that you know everybody is going to be teching their deck specifically for your matchup. And then the second reason is he kind of has a stigma attached to him right now. He has a few stigmas. One is that he's easy to pilot. And so a lot of the best players in the game might not want to be playing Mirio because they want to showcase their skills. You know, they want to play more interesting games. And so they might not want to be playing Mirio. And then Mirio has this stigma of being the best character in the game right now. And I feel like we are a community, which is good. I think we're a community that loves underdogs. And that's not a bad thing, but we love to play the underdogs. And so when there's a clear favorite in the room, I feel like people tend to shy away from that character. We saw it with Ojiro 2, where he saw massive play at the beginning of Season 1 this year. And then when it was clear he was the best deck, his representation actually went down and not up. And part of that is because the pricing of the RLEs just isn't worth it to where you absolutely have to be winning. You'd rather have fun and play an underdog. And so it was kind of surprising, but we saw the Ojiro 2 representation go down. I think we'll see the same thing with Mirio. Overhaul is very, very popular. And there's a lot of different ways he can be very good. But when you actually start to play Overhaul, you realize he's actually pretty simple to play, and he's just very strong on face. Okay, my other bold prediction is Rappa and Midoriya 4 will once again be leapfrogged for top 16. So these are 2 characters that a lot of people, including myself, were very excited about when they were initially announced and their kits were revealed. But after playing with them for a while, I have felt a little disappointed. And so for the webcam RLE, we saw that Kirishima 3 was actually the other set 5 character that topped. And for this RLE, I think that Amajiki and Mimic will be set 5 characters that top before Rappa and Midoriya. I suppose I should also put Nejire on this graph. But yeah, as I said earlier, I think Mimic, more people have trigger transformation. Amajiki, more people have practice. He's a pretty complex character. And so I feel like they've made it to where they're ready to make Top Cuts. This one might be a little too bold, but I think that the evil symbol will see 2 characters Top Cut. I think the evil symbol saw a massive upgrade with set 5. I think a lot of people, when they think of the evil symbol in set 5, they think of the cards that say if this was played from somewhere other than your hand. And so they think, oh, the evil symbol didn't get that much better. It just got this new play style. But I think it got much, much better just generically. We see a lot of cards. We see, this is just one of each type of card, but we see Cooperation Offer, flip for -3 speed, send it back to its printed zone. It also really works with Evil for the commit for the +2 damage. We see Surging Crystal Darts, which is just a great attack on face stat-wise. It never hurts to have a 5-high 10, in your pocket that has a deadlock enhance where it could be a 10-high 10, and it's a low block. And then you get this action Barrier Shield, taking something speed down to 0. This is amazing if somebody's trying to Detroit Smash you, to just take it down to 0 and then Breaker 2. And then you also get Twisty Surroundings for repeatable Breaker 2s, or if you use it on as a block, it's Breaker 2, and you can change the zone, which is especially strong if you're playing a character like Mario. So I think Evil got a lot stronger on defense, and I think it got another generically strong card to pair with Tongue Whip. And I also believe that 0-5-handers will make top cuts. I don't have a particularly strong reason as to why, but I just noticed that when I put my top 16 together, that I didn't have any 5-handers on there. And I know Nomu will probably prove me wrong, because Nomu always sees pretty good representation, and he always seems to make it into top cuts, and he keeps getting better and better at the last several RLEs. So Nomu will probably prove me wrong, but I feel like Recovery Girl doesn't have a great matchup into Mirio. I feel like Fourth Kind doesn't have a great matchup into characters like Overhaul. When Fourth Kind tries to play his indiscriminate shock and he's totally committed out Overhaul's board, Overhaul will say, like, oh no, okay, I'll block from my stage with a self-sacrifice, ignoring progressive difficulty, and block on a 4. or something like that. So I just don't think that I think these characters will be missing in top cuts this weekend. That's going to be a 6- and 7-handers world. And finally, the winner will be Overhaul on the life symbol. And this doesn't feel quite bold enough, so I'll tell you exactly how he's going to win. He's going to have a Airy out on the board with a momentum. And his rival, he's going to be at like 3 or 4 health, just living on the edge. And his rival's going to have 1 attack left. And his rival's going to think, I shouldn't play this last attack because he'll just use his Airy and so he'll still survive. And I don't want to play this attack on like a 7 or 8 and commit my board and have less cards to block with. So his rival will maybe build or pass his turn at that point. Overhaul, so Airy will save Overhaul without being used, and Overhaul will still have a momentum. And then Overhaul will play a string of attacks that finishes in playing a Monstrous Fusion from stage. And it'll get powerful 5. And the momentum that Overhaul gets to keep because he didn't have to use Airy, he'll get to use that to give it 5 more damage, get it to 11, and make it lethal, and take down the championship. And if that actually happens, I will. That will be the high point of my career in this game. But I think that this RLE is going to be all about Overhaul this weekend. He's going to be the most represented. He's going to be the most represented in top cuts, and he's going to win the entire tournament. I think we're going to see the discourse right now switch from, oh, Mirio's too good, and the good symbol is too generically powerful. We're going to see it totally switch to Overhaul is way too powerful. He's the return of Kirishima 2. He's way too consistent. He sees way too many cards. And he's just too generically powerful. So I think we're going to see a total flip-flop in characters that the community is focusing on, and that this is going to be the weekend where Overhaul really shows that he's at the top of the meta.